Breaking news, everyone, from the United Kingdom. Another electricity substation has been, well, it's on fire. Now, this is breaking news and it's like a couple of minutes old. I'm just going to read it from the what we're getting here. Huge fire engulfs electrical substation in London as smoke billows from raging inferno. I'll put this link in the description. A huge fire has engulfed an electricity substation in London as smoke billows for miles across the capital. 15 engines and around 100 firefighters were summoned to the scene to tackle the blaze in the northwest of the city in Maida Vale. I don't know where that is. I don't really care. But that's the latest from what's happening here. Now, guys, listen. I can't stress this enough. We are heading right now into, and I'm not saying this is sabotage at all. What I am saying is these are the most likely targets for sabotage. You know, I did a top 10 video, and you know, in that top 10 video, I highlighted all the problems that we have in the United Kingdom with our infrastructure. Now, these electricity substations, just think about it, guys. Wherever you live in the United Kingdom, or I would say wherever you live in the world, those electricity substations, you drive past them when you're going to the shop. You drive past them when you're going to work. You drive past them when you're taking the kids to school. We all know where electricity substations are in our local communities. We all know that. These electricity substations predominantly have a low level of security because normally people don't want to turn off their own power, because although we pay through the teeth for it, we kind of need it. But all these substations, they're very easily accessible. And what do I mean by that? We can walk straight up to them and there's nothing. There may be a fence around that, but the fence can be defeated with like a ladder, you know. And if you can get up to these substations, then you can stack wood, you can stack settees, you can stack flammable material, you know, against these substations. And then, as we've seen in this incident, as we've seen in the incident in that took down Heathrow Airport, we have seen that substations don't react well to fire, and when stuff burns, it doesn't come back. Now, I've been warning about this a long time, guys. I've been saying the United Kingdom is ridiculously vulnerable. The electricity, that is vulnerable. We can see that now. Now, I'm not saying this is sabotage. What I am saying is I've warned about sabotage, and I've warned that these substations are ridiculously vulnerable. Of course, you know, we'll be told that this will be awaiting further in, you know, a further, they'll be investigating this, you know, the government will want to let the investigation run its course and the findings will be published in due course. And the reality is we're never going to know what's happened, guys. We will never know what's happened. Like the same with the Heathrow, like they say with the Heathrow fire, you know, we've still not found out what that is. It will come down to the investigation's not run its course. That will get rid of the first questions. And then by the time, in a couple of weeks, people will have forgot about this. Guys, listen, I did a video on the other platform, TikTok, yesterday, and I said, look, everybody needs to get ready for electricity outages. I said that yesterday. It's a video. It's out there. It's for all to see. I've been warning about this for such a long time. So let me just reiterate some of the things I've been saying previously, guys, to get, you know, to get everyone ready. I believe that this year we're going to have the summer of carnage in the United Kingdom. We are going to have a situation where we are divided on ethnic, racial, religious, financial, and geographical boundaries, basically. That we're going to be split up into those groups. People are going to be all competing. There's going to be riots. There's going to be protests. There's going to be counter protests. Both of them are going to turn into riots. There's going to be ugly scenes. I've been predicting this for over a year. I still think the first flashpoint is going to be on the 4th of July in Cardiff. But as we move into those, as we move towards that, what you're also going to have is you're going to have near-peer adversaries, whoever you think they are, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, like you literally take your pick. You're going to have those people conducting acts of sabotage. You're going to have those people fanning the flames of both sides. And when I mean acts of sabotage, guys, there's going to have to be a new name for it, because normally sabotage would be done by enemy combatants. But in this instance now, and I've said this so many times, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this so many times, what we're going to have in the United Kingdom is we're going to have these, I'm just going to put them down as sabotage, but I'm encompassing a huge thing. These things are going to be carried out now by paid criminal gangs. And how do you find these how do you find these paid criminal gangs? Well, we already know. There was a story broke like last month, I think it was, whereby Eastern European hotel staff were they were in a spy ring with Russian backers. That's how you would do it, ladies and gentlemen. You would get these people of Eastern. It doesn't have to be Eastern European, but normally it would be, because they would have those ties and they would have that communication network open. You would find these people who potentially have some sort of Russian influence. These people, a lot of Eastern Europeans work in these hotels now. Those people would be identifying, recruiting, and deploying paid criminal gangs. Now, it's very easy to do this, and you get 100% plausible deniability. What you would do is you would say, and I've said this so many times, guys, this is the reality. You would say, let's just use the water supply, for example, because, guys, listen, although the electricity stations are going up now, believe me, the water system is going to go. Believe me, guys, all right? Because that is the easiest one to take down. It's the easiest one to take down, and it has the biggest... it will affect more people and a lot more easily. So, and again, this may already have been done. Now, what you would do is you would recruit somebody who would say, hey, listen, you know what? My mum, my auntie, my cousin, my sister knows somebody who used to work for this water company. Okay, yep, right. And she's been, and she's had a bad experience with that water company. She's fell over, she was injured, and she wants to get some, she wants to have some payback. So would you be willing, and this is what the hotel workers would say to the migrants. Now, I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm speculating this is how it could happen. You would say to the migrants then, from the hotel workers, you would say, I will pay you £1,000 if you go and sabotage that water pipe. You buy a drill, you just put a load of holes in that water pipe until it's just, until that water pipe is totally destroyed. Literally, guys, how expensive is it for a DeWalt drill and, and a metal drill and a long metal drill bit? It's not beyond the realms of possibility that somebody could buy that from like Screwfix or Toolstation. These are the tools that are readily available. Now, once that happens and those guys have gone and they're conducting that act of, that criminal act, that act of sabotage, if you coordinate that on a countrywide, if you coordinate that countrywide and, you just tell your sleeper cells, you say, right, okay, on this time at this day, I want all the water to go off. That becomes very easy. It becomes very feasible, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. How much would that cost? 10, 15, 20 grand to destroy 20 water systems in the United Kingdom. Like, you can't even buy a sensor for one of these long-range drones for 20 grand. So, when you're doing a cost analysis, you think, right, okay, am I going to send in my best James Bond Rolex watch wearing Aston Martin driving spy into these locations? He's got to then start from scratch. He's got to build these relationships. He's then got to recruit with credibility. He's got to be, he's got to work through all that system himself. Or are you just going to pay some people in these migrant hotels to do that? What's the most likely scenario? Also, when people say, Sean, is the United Kingdom going to be attacked? Yes, this is it. I'm speculating that this is it. Are we going to get this long-range missile coming over and taking out our airfields? Absolutely not. It makes no sense. Why would you do that when the cost and there's no cost relevance and there's no cost benefit to that? You would use sabotage. You would use paid criminal gangs to do that. And I believe that this is what we're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen. But that is just my speculation. Obviously, we have to wait for the actual government report to come out before we can say that with a definitive answer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought I would put that out there. I'm going to back to grid. I'll get you guys another video later.